First, regular zoning commission meeting to order. Ms. Mike's not here, so we could appoint Gavin to replace Mike. Okay, Gavin?
Sure.
No baseball anymore, right?
None.
Not after last weekend. Oops, must be Yankee fans here. All right. So we have 6 members with Gavin. First order of business is the approval of minutes of the June 17th regular meeting. I have 2 comments that I marked on one of these copies.
I have a couple too.
One was on the vote for the signs, it was a 4-2 vote, not 4-0.
Right.
One?
199?
Thank you.
And then, there was another one where, on 113, where Jackie voiced concerns that the property was due to something landscape.
I know, I agree.
Do you know what you said?
No, I mean, it was a safety concern, so maybe that would be what we would say? A safety concern?
Due to the landscape.
You can take mine. So
Okay.
and then the other thing, can you go back, if you don't mind, to page 1? It said we're approving the minutes, and then it says March on my copy. 19?
March 18th, not March 18th, good catch.
Excuse me, I think you said it was like due for landscaping, like it needed to be updated landscaping because of the trees and
No,
visibility.
I think she meant the land layout made it difficult to get out, or the landscaping made it difficult to get
Like
out.
visibility issues that
Yeah.
need to be landscaped as such, does that make sense?
Something like that.
Reword that if
It
you'd like
was
to
a-
clarify?
Yeah, I would reword it somehow, either safety concern or concern.
Concern for safety and due to visibility or,
Sure.
okay.
And then, line 19, just has the wrong date. I think it's for June. It
June
says
3rd.
March, right?
Is it May 18th?
Oh, May, I don't know.
No, it would have been June 3rd.
June. Okay, thanks.
June 3rd, right?
That was it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah,
Kevin?
No,
Bruce?
I did the one. You did.
line 196. The line ends with the word either. It really is not appropriate or necessary, so I say strike the word either.
Well, 196 is to either be
196.
one of the,
Yeah, the end of 196, the last word is the word either.
either doesn't need to be there, you're right. I'm reading Dreyer's book on copy editing, he would hammer that. Okay, others? Bruce?
No, I don't have any others, and I'll
Kevin?
recommend that approval with the corrections that we've discussed in the last few minutes.
I'll second.
Second by Kevin, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 6-0. Okay, the first order of business is a public hearing. Mr. Secretary, can you read the call?
Oh, I didn't ask you. I'll say your name. Application 1932 of Edelshaw? Okay. Applicant, Aquarian Water Company owner, Al Wells, Tie and Bond, Inc., agent for special exception pursuant to Article 7, Section M for construction and the floodplain of the Stratton Brook centralized treatment facility on the property located at 190 Stratton Brook Road, Assessor's Map, D12, Block 151, Lot 008C, Zone R40.
Okay, would you like to tell us what your plan is?
You want to stand over here.
Stand over here and then you can be on TV.
The TV camera's up here, just so you know. They're up.
So your name and address.
Good evening, everyone. Jessica with Aquarian Water Company based out of 600 Lindley Street, Bridgeport, Connecticut. I'm here to present Aquarian's proposed project at our Simsbury well field located at 170 Stratton Brook Road in Simsbury. The project, just to give you an overview of Aquarian Water is a drinking water supply utility serving town of Simsbury, Connecticut, about 5,400 customers. The project is located at our Simsbury well field, which currently has 4 water supply wells. 3 are located on the site, and well number 1 is off-site on Town Forest Road. What we are proposing currently at each well is treated in its individual well houses. What we are proposing as a part of this project is create a centralized treatment building where we can bring in raw water from all 4 wells and treat at one centralized location. That means it's a safer operation for having a centralized treatment, as well as better quality treatment in terms of less chemical handling, safety for our workers, much better end product. So that's the overall scope of the project, and as a part of part of the project, currently the access road to the well site is shared by public and Aquarian both. So what we are proposing is a separate access for public will have a separate access and Aquarian will have a separate access. I also have a copy from Mr. John G. He's the the state park supervisor in favor of the project. I'll give her a copy as well. And I also have an affidavit of the signature, affidavit of the sign that we posted at the site prior to public hearing. And I'll hand it over to Elle and Andrew to talk about the floodplain and what we are proposing for the project. So.
Good evening. My name is Al Wells with Ty and Bond, Court Street in Middletown, in our Middletown, Connecticut office. So, as Hetal explained, this project, the specific piece of work that's in the floodplain that we're asking for the special exception for is the access road to the site. There is work being done at the site, which we'll also explain, but that is, of course, outside the floodplain. It's a new building, and we're actually taking down some existing well houses too. But I thought maybe I'd step back and just explain or sort of reiterate the overall intent of the project. So, as you know, these wells already exist. We're going to continue to operate these wells. These are not new wells. These wells are all contained in well houses that are aged and obviously separate from one another. So there's wells 1, which that one's on Town Forest Road, a little bit past sort of that fire department. Not sure if it's a club, but the facility there, yeah. So that's a little west of the fire department. So that's well 1, and then wells 3, 4, and 6 are all in the Stratton Brook site, which are off of that trail. So as you walk down that trail towards Stratton Brook State Forest, the site, if you can kind of picture it, is up to your left. It's all fenced in, but the idea is to consolidate the treatment of those 4 wells into one facility. So right now they all get treatment for pH, for disinfection, and none of the treatment is changing. We're just consolidating it so that the Aquarion staff does not have to go to each facility. Plus, all of these facilities are pretty aged. So they're either going to have to make an investment in each individual facility to rehab them, or just build a new facility and centralize the treatment. So that's the overarching goal of the project. As you know, the access now is not great to wells 3, 4, and 6. It's really more of a walking, biking trail. It's not really a very good driveway for trucks to go down to the facility. So we contacted the state if we could acquire a larger easement to create a dedicated paved access road and then separate out that biking, walking trail. So we didn't have that conflict of use anymore. So we've been in communication with the state. They're in favor of the easement, but they wanted to make sure that the state park was in favor of the easement as well. So we met with the state park superintendent, and that's why he drafted that letter some time ago. He's very much in favor of it, again, just to get traffic vehicles off that trail. But in order to do that, that's when work within the floodplain begins, because we need to widen it, which requires a little bit of filling to the north of the trail in order to make a clean radius into the site and just give room for what we're trying to accomplish. Of course, we're going to provide compensatory storage to offset that, but again, that's all work within the floodplain. So that's why we're asking for the special exception. I did bring Andrew Wright with us. He's the lead civil engineer who can speak to some of the details of it. I guess maybe I'll just pause at that point. Is what I'm saying, any questions?
Yeah, actually, I do. At some point, will you come in for approval of your new building?
We were told, we just we had a pre-application meeting, and we were told this would be the only
Okay.
permit that was
Is
required.
it a new building?
It is a new building, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm assuming the zoning is compliant for that. I guess we just took,
I don't know.
Well, that
Seen
would be a
other
site,
well houses,
that would be
so-
a site plan amendment, which is not a public hearing.
okay,
So once you've got your special exception
Mhm.
to create the road to the new building
okay,
site,
so maybe that's,
then I think you will have to come back for a site plan approval of the new building in its location.
oh, okay.
That's the normal practice.
Do you have before and after as far as the driveway and how that is all gonna be?
Yeah, and Andrew can walk
Okay,
us
we don't have
through
any
that.
photos of any of that.
Oh,
so-
before and after photos, no. We've got plans of what would exist and what's being proposed,
Okay.
so,
Well, how about if you start with that? I mean, I'm having
Yeah.
a little trouble with your verbal description, which I'm sure is quite accurate.
yeah.
Sort of picturing what I know to be that roadway to the town forest, through that property, and the firemen's clubhouse is at the beginning near Stratton Brook.
Yeah.
on the West side of the road.
Mhm.
And I could see that some of the wells are on the south side of Stratton Brook Road, some are on the north side of Stratton Brook Road, but I'd love to see a map.
Is this a,
I have
Somebody
four
bring up
full
the map.
sets of plans, should anyone wish. I don't know
well, if you
what.
could describe what you have.
Yeah,
here.
we'll walk you through it. So I think at this point, I will turn it over to Andrew, and he can walk you through it. But, I mean, in simple, and we'll get into the details, but we're widening that existing trail.
Let me ask you a question. This view that we're looking at now, that's a plan view of the
Correct.
trail to the north of Stratton Brook,
Yep, here. Should I take
Which-
the mic out?
leads up to,
You're loud now.
leads up toward the park.
Exactly. So here's Stratton Brook Road,
Yeah.
here's Town Forest Road, most folks park here to go access the park if they're going in that way. And right now, as you know, this is just a simple gravel
And where's your,
trail.
where's your new building gonna be?
That's up into this site here,
Okay.
so.
How do you get water from the other side of the road? From,
Oh, we'll
well
be
one.
running a dedicated, untreated water main to the centralized facility.
does
So
that
this-
exist?
It does not exist now, so there'll be all new utilities. I mean, there is a distribution main in here now, but it's post-treatment. But we'll be providing, a new electrical service and communication service. And the whole idea is to get that all off the trail and into the driveway, so in the future, when work needs to be done, it doesn't affect the trail whatsoever. So the idea is to shift the existing utilities just to the north into this gray area, which is the paved road.
Are they underground?
Next year?
Yeah, everything's underground, even the electric.
So the new driveway is gonna be next to the gravel?
Exactly.
Okay.
And there'll be a split rail fence in between. That was at the request of the state. They wanted just a wooden split rail fence, nothing, I'm assuming they didn't want chain link or something that looked not park-like. I mean, we're open to whatever. We just wanted to create a barrier. We didn't want confusion. The whole idea was to get people who are recreating in the area off of the driveway. Just again, to keep that conflict of use separate. So does that paint a better picture, and then we can
Yeah.
get into the details of?
Yeah.
the
So
real-
where's the nearest residence to this then? Because that doesn't show on this site plan.
Yeah, it would be that property just to the north on Stratton Brook Road. I don't know the parcel
Yeah, there's a
number.
house.
Well, there's a whole development up there.
But yeah, I can say.
No, but there's a house
There's a
right,
house right
there's a house
after
right
this
there.
trail.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be cinder block or something, and then it would get sided.
That's the one.
Yeah, so Well, again, the work that's in the floodplain is really all here. It's due to this having to make, a safe radius for vehicles to access, which pushed us into that wetland and floodplain area. The culvert's in bad shape there too anyway, so we needed to replace that as well. But I guess with that, let me just turn it over to Andrew, the civil design.
Okay, and you've already gone to conservation?
Yes, so we did get approval from conservation.
Good evening. My name is Andrew White, lead civil engineer for Ty and Bond, 213 Court Street, Middletown, Connecticut. As Al was explaining, this section here, down here, it's not highlighted, but if you can imagine, if you see my fingers here, this is the current width of that gravel road. It's a little more than 20 feet. Just past our driveway here, it narrows down to 10 feet, and that's what you experience going from the Aquarion driveway all the way to the state park. So when we're doing this work, and we were talking to the state about widening this, there's a few factors that came in. One was the work in the floodplain and the existing culvert, and also getting the trucks separated from the pedestrian use and turning these trucks into the site. So our approach was twofold. One was to widen, to separate that, and the other is due to the floodplain requirements, and the town of Simsbury has a 0.00 foot floodplain elevation guidelines. We actually cut the elevation down, we widen it out, and then we're providing compensatory storage as we continue into the site for floodplain mitigation. We also replaced the culvert. It is a 36-inch reinforced concrete pipe now. Before it was a corrugated metal pipe in failing condition with timber rails as head walls. It'll now have concrete head walls coming into it and be able to stand up to the vehicular loads on top of it and provide conveyance of flows in the 100-year storms passing through this. As we turn over, actually to continue, this would be the driveway now where we turned and went right. So this is now heading north up into the site. This is the existing building, the garage building. There are well houses, 3 well houses on the site, and a new centralized treatment facility to the north. This blue line represents the 100-year floodplain, so work here up is outside of the floodplain. This driveway is marginally changed. We trued up the width. It was around 11 feet. It's now at 12 foot. But this is exactly where the driveway was, or is currently, and continues to be proposed.
That's paved? So you have that large paved area up there?
We do have this, this will now be paved. It's gravel now. We do address all stormwater through a series of rain gardens and biofiltration swales down the driveway in compliance with the town of Simsbury standards for total suspended solids, total nitrogen, total phosphorus. We also have reduced peak flow to existing conditions, so there will be no exacerbation of flooding downstream due to the increased pavement here. There will also be no change in elevation of the floodplain due to any of this work, and we've provided the reports, which has the 1982 FEMA data that came from Washington that we then inputted into our hydraulic models, ran cross sections through the brook and through the wetlands, and modeled with the new site, the new width of the road, the new heights of the access drive, to demonstrate a 0.00 foot increase, or would not increase in the flood elevation.
What's the margin of error in those models?
At a percent, it's got to be ridiculously tiny. I mean, you can get a 0.01 foot increase.
Really?
Yes.
Has anybody really measured that in the real world?
And I don't know how you would actually
Tested
measure it, but
against-
when we do the calculations, and they're always a little conservative, we ran through the entire model. We did actually at one point have a little bit of an increase, and we revised the design to make sure we were not increasing at all. So we do have that fine of a tolerance in the
Control.
models.
Okay.
Does your rain garden there actually flow into the brook?
It will ultimately flow into the brook. The way this site is designed, since we have the large hillside behind the treatment, all the water flows down. We have a diversion swale around the building, so we can gather water, bring it to those rain gardens. The site drains to them. The rain gardens themselves are made up of 18 inches of sand and leaf compost in well-draining soils. They're planted with a wetland grass mix so that the plants themselves are taking out a lot of the wash off from the pavement. And they will infiltrate water into the ground. So in a large storm, there would be slight overtopping, which is calculated and designed to be less than the existing condition where there is no pavement and it's gravel and no additional building.
Are those rain gardens already there?
No, they are not there.
Oh, I thought you said they were planted.
No, they will be planted.
Just for, that 12-foot wide road that you're describing that goes
Yes.
back to the buildings, that generally runs east to west, right? So Stratton, it's parallel to Stratton Brook.
So this is actually perpendicular, so the access road, excuse me, is generally east to west, with north coming up here. The driveway turns left,
Okay.
then continues to the north. So this piece is north and south.
I was trying to picture how close the nearest residence was.
I believe it's heavily wooded in this area, and you'd have your nearest residence about here.
About how far is it over there?
See, as the crow flies, I don't know off the top of my head, but I would say at least 500 to 600 feet in my best estimate.
Thank you. And the treatment, the centralized treatment plant, I'm curious as to whether that makes any noise. Are there more trucks going in and out to a centralized treatment than
How could you speak
the
to
way it's
that?
done
Yeah,
now?
let me come up to the mic. So it's the same traffic, it's the same truck traffic as before. What happens now, the chemicals get delivered to this this building's not here, but they get delivered to the garage that does exist there now. And then it's almost double the traffic. Then your operators go take all of these water treatment chemicals and deliver them to each well. So you've got the bulk delivery, then you've got the individual delivery back out. So the idea here is you would get one larger delivery and it wouldn't have to go anywhere from there. It would just be delivered to bulk storage and then, applied to the treatment system. So
In that one building?
in that one building versus getting, now it's almost like a warehouse, and then it gets distributed out to the 4 wells. Granted, 3 of the wells are at that site, so, but, and then in terms of noise, no, the treatment system, it's, essentially you just have water treatment chemicals, small metering pumps. These are not big, they plug into 120 volt receptacles, and they just meter the treatment chemicals into the water. There is an aeration system, but again, that's just blowing low-pressure air into the water to help raise the pH of it. But no, it would not, I wouldn't see noise levels being any different than what they are now, which are, to my ear, non-existent. I don't think you ever notice whether a well house is running or not. The largest motor is the well pump, which is still pretty quiet.
And is that current outline where it's kind of black around it, is that already fenced?
Yeah, the whole site is actually not the whole, actually the property is very large that Aquarium owns, but the immediate site where the 3 wells are fenced. And then we are going to bump out the fence a little bit for the proposed centralized facility.
Is the well house a 1-story?
Yeah, 1 story. And then I should add, the well houses that exist there now at the site will be demolished, and only
Are
the
they
well will
shown
remain.
here somewhere?
Well, this is proposed. Do we have?
Yeah, but are they, are they closer to the trail or are they on this piece of
No,
the
they're all,
property?
I can almost point to them. One is right where this range,
Yeah, okay, so they're in the,
yeah, they're all within the site. One,
within that
two,
site,
three.
okay. Oh, okay.
And that's the garage.
Yeah, yeah. And there will be a well cover of some sort over?
Oh, yeah.
when
It would
you-
look, I mean, it's just a larger version of what a private well would look like at a residence. You'd still see a small amount of casing coming up with the well cap and obviously a power cord to it, which is, that's typical practice for large wells too, if they've got a centralized facility to go to for treatment.
More questions? Gavin, you haven't said anything.
I have no questions.
I think I'm okay. Thank you.
Bruce?
I just want to make sure that, did I understand there was some dialogue in here, maybe informally, about that building, that new building, you're not going to have to apply for a site plan amendment? Build that-
We'll do whatever we need to do. I guess it was,
That's my
that wasn't clear to us. The
No,
direction we were
Bruce,
given was.
They will have to,
Yeah.
Oh, site plan amendment, yeah.
All right,
for a building.
thank you.
Okay. What's that? No, it's not, yeah, and I was aware of the site plan amendment, but, and again, I don't want to speak for people who aren't here, but it just, based on communications, it was our understanding that we would only be required to do this, and I don't know why that determination was made, but we can certainly find out.
So actually, quite a bit of this site will actually be disturbed while you're doing this, because you're gonna put the underground pipes, you're
Oh, yeah.
gonna pave, you're gonna
Yeah.
put the gardens in. So there will be a lot of disturbance within that area during the construction.
Yep, and we did present that all, obviously, to inland wetlands.
This is for the flood,
Just
this
for
is
the
for the
floodplain,
floodplain permission, so special
there's-
exception for that. And then once you've got
Nothing
that,
on the other
there's no
side of
public
Stratton.
hearing for the site plan amendment. You just bring it in and say, this is what we want to do.
For special exception, no, and actually the work over there is, we just need basically, we need to run an untreated water main to this location. There are a few minor improvements, site improvements, but, there's fix a fence and put a new
Yeah.
roof on, things like that.
Okay.
So the rain gardens are taking up the fill, that's how you're balancing out the fill for it?
Actually, I can show you. Oriented in the same direction, coming in. There's this area adjacent to the driveway, which is going to be cut about 3 feet
Oh, okay.
and it will connect with the elevation down at it's not the brook, but the water course on the north side of the driveway. So as waters fill up, this area will pond and then freely drain, and this is where a bulk of the conveyance is made. These rain gardens are primarily for treatment of the site,
For the runoff?
all the
Okay.
runoff.
Okay.
This similarly would be planted with a wetland mitigation mix, so as it gets inundated, it's not like we're putting in bluegrass that's gonna die. It's friendly plants.
So none of the wetlands is in this portion of the map. It's all on that first one you showed us.
Yes.
Because of the pipe?
Because of, it's really when this was
The
built
addition.
by the railroad, this was all burned up, and the existing Stratton Brook, the brook itself is running on the south side. This was most likely cut off from free draining to the brook when the rail was originally built. There were culverts put in to put the conveyance. Over the decades, this has then become wet soils. So we do have wetlands that in larger conveyance storms, 100-year storms, are actively flowing. So that culvert, which goes under the driveway, is utilized in higher storms. In the middle of winter, it's wet. Out there now, it's fairly dry. So it's seasonal on this side, unlike the brook itself, which is running most of the time.
And which way does it run?
Yeah.
Towards the state park?
Towards
Towards the state park.
Now, the L there, where it takes the elbow,
Yes.
so how wide is that? Is that accurate? The great part is actually, you have
This-
much more pavement there than,
It is for the turning radius for the trucks.
so these are big trucks then?
They are large trucks, yes. They were modeled for larger trucks, so that way we wouldn't have an issue where if the demands change year to year, we'd all of a sudden have something that can't make it after doing all these driveway improvements.
That was as much for construction as anything to bring in, you know, as you noted, the building, you know, it will need excavators and dump trucks and.
So,
Okay, go ahead, Bruce.
I was just gonna say about, again, back to the question of the traffic. The number of trucks going in and out of this, going down Stratton Brook and making that turn, if they're headed west, they're gonna make a turn to the right.
Right.
The number of trucks doing that is expected to be fewer in the future.
Fewer, yeah, at most, once a month for a chemical delivery. And we've actually sized some of the storage for once about every 6 months, just to try to keep that to a minimum.
Compared to what is it now?
Well, now it's daily. You've got truck traffic coming through. They're pickup trucks, granted, but then when the bulk delivery comes, yeah, I'm not quite sure how big those trucks are, but so.
So you're seeing one of those every 6 months, is that what you were saying?
It depends on the chemical, you know, but yeah, once a month, just to be fair. That would be the worst case scenario during the summer when demands are high, and that would be for chlorine or sodium hypochlorite for disinfection. But during the winter, when your water demands go down, it's
I'm trying to
far
picture
frequent,
whether-
far less
We
frequent.
have an increased hazard at the intersection of those roads, if there's more big trucks going in and out of there.
Where the pedestrians are.
Right, but at least now they're off the pedestrian path.
Yeah, I mean, and that traffic's happening now, so it's, again, the idea is to decrease the frequency of the traffic.
Separate it.
And so you do have some kind of barrier at the end.
Yes, we have, so in between the walking trail and the driveway is a split rail fence.
Yeah.
We have a removable bollard for the pedestrian access, so no trucks can drive down that. And then we have a gate arm for the aquarium that will be locked, so no one can start using this without unlocking.
And a gate on this side too, so the
Okay.
site would be truly isolated.
So the gate is for, the truck can get off of Stratton Brook before they have to?
Correct.
They are, yeah, okay,
Yes, it's recessed, it's,
okay. Can we go back to the other side thing? I know we're not doing that today, but I was just wondering why you pave that extra to do the little circle in the middle where the current garage is. Yeah, why you have pavement that way?
this
Yeah.
pavement
Yeah.
here?
Well, no, why isn't there just one access to the parking lot in the back there instead of
So you
two?
don't have to back
This
up.
was to keep circular traffic
Yeah.
with the vehicles. So we have a decontamination area pad, so as the truck pulls in, for a case of a spill, we have an isolated catch basin with post indicator valves, so as they're unloading chemicals, if there's ever a spill, or actually for procedure, as they fill up, they turn off the catch basin, they open it to decontamination tank, then fill up the building. Then when everything is safely secured back on the truck, they reopen the valves. But that's this area here, so they actually drive around to pull up and then back into that area, so we can have safe unloading that's isolated and nothing outside of this concrete pad.
Yeah, so again, I guess I still don't understand. So if you drive in and you're gonna back up, why do you need a second exit? A separate exit?
So this is to,
Right, and then they back in, and then they get another different way out. Why couldn't they go out the same way?
I mean, this pattern already exists now. They can go fully around the building. So we really haven't changed, all we've done is just add this paved area in front of the building.
I was just trying to
for
look at the
parking,
amount of
yeah.
pavement that you do in the area, and I just see that as excess pavement. There's a really good reason for it.
well, there's also, you bay doors in front of the rest of the building as well.
Yeah, no, it was just to provide good, ease of traffic circulation and follow the pattern that's there now.
But there's only one truck there at a time, right? It's not like there's
Yeah, you're correct.
traffic jam.
I mean, it just makes for a simpler movement.
Yeah, I think they know
There's
how to
no
manage their
there's no
own.
staff assigned here, right?
Oh, no, there are. I mean,
Oh, there are?
Heddle can speak to that, but every day it's staff.
Yes, yeah, we have a couple of people who works out of that now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, any more questions? Anybody in the public care to speak to this application? Hearing none.
All right, then are we set here? Do we have all our questions
Ready to close
answered?
it.
Well, I'm interested in what the town engineer had to say about this, if he even saw it. Is there a staff report on this?
Mike did provide a staff report as far as the floodplain goes, Mike being the floodplain administrator for the town, and this application being a special exception for that. But the engineer does not look like he provided a memo.
I think it's primarily, Bruce, the Conservation Commission in this case. The site plan amendment would
Okay.
Address the
would
engineering.
address the engineering and the water flow.
Okay,
And
I got it. Thank you.
And if you are interested, I do have an aerial showing the the residence close by on my phone if you'd like to look at it. I know that was a question.
It would have been helpful earlier, but at this point, it's not necessary.
Okay, then I move that we close the public hearing for application 1932.
Second.
second by Bruce. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carry 6-0. Okay, public hearing is closed. Next order of business is application 1928 of Mark Deming for site plan amendment for the construction of a roof structure attached to the storage barn on Performing Arts Center. And as a member of the board, I will recuse myself.
Okay.
So,
All right, Ferg, do we have someone here to speak on this? You're the fourth Mark Deming that's been here.
I'm a lot older than Mark Cummings. Bill Clegg for development, and me, Ferg Jansen, 3 Fox Den, West Simsbury for operations, are here to address you. After the last meeting, we've done research, and we feel strongly that the best way to protect the chairs and have it be agreeable to you and to service our operational needs is to use a canvas which will roll up, whether it be at your old campsite or if you're at the Oar on Block Island, the weather's bad, you roll down the canvas, you roll it up. We need to have the flexibility on a sunny day. If the chairs go in wet, we want air and sunlight to get in and to dry them so they don't continue to rust. A lattice work or something like that would not protect them from the rain, and we couldn't have the flexibility to load and unload like we would like to do. And we ordered a swash right after our last meeting. It was supposed to arrive Friday, supposed to arrive Saturday, it didn't come today. But our idea was to use a canvas, which I'll describe, that really blends in and disappears, because it'd be the color of the barn. Now, if you say you want it to be black or something else in contrast, we don't care. There are many colors available. We thought to have it kind of blend in with the barn be the way to go. This is called Outertex. It's a canvas waterproof Oxford fabric for all indoor and outdoor uses. It's 600 times 600 denier, whatever that means, 100% polyester, waterproof, features a plastic PVC backing with waterproof coating, extremely durable and resilient, also has mold and UV resistance qualities. Again, I apologize for the swash so you can touch it and feel it. It did not arrive. It was supposed to, it's paid for and all that. But we think this is a lot more attractive. If you go down there now, you see our chairs on pallets sitting out in the open field to the right of the barn with the brown tarps over them. And again, for ease of moving in and out and not having to wrap them at night or whatever the thing is. We have to get the chairs off the field so they can mow it between events. So we can't just leave the chairs out there. So we encourage your support for this. And I'm happy to take questions or suggestions or anything you want to say.
Would you be rolling it on the inside? Would the roll of fabric be on the outside or on the
We were,
inside of the structure?
it would, when it's rolled up, it would be inside the, if this is the roof and this is the end, of the lower end of the slanted roof, it would be up there.
On the inside?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's under the overhang.
So you're
Yeah, so
talking
it's-
about
it's gonna
5
be
of
there,
these?
not
One for
out
the 2
here.
ends and then the 3
That's what I was
bays?
asking. It's not gonna be on the outside. It's gonna
No, we're talking about just the face side.
Oh, just 3? So
And
the
leaving
ends are going to be open.
Did I say that
I
correctly?
think he said on the inside.
Yeah, we don't think we need,
Nice if they just drew
given the
it.
length of the design you've been given, we think there's room to protect it without doing the ends. We could do the ends too, but I think what we talked about is just having it go on the face side. Because we want, as long as
That's where the
we
weather's
think the
coming.
chairs will all fit in there and not, so water would not come in from the end and we'd still get the fresh air in there.
And it'll be weighted somehow,
Yes.
so it doesn't,
Yeah, oh yeah, they won't flop because there'll be a, what's the word Bill used here, furring strips and such to keep it down,
Keep it
just like a, I mean, I relate it to what, when I was a kid at a camp, same thing, they roll them down, but anyway.
None of this is in an application anywhere.
Nope.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, we don't actually have any of that anywhere in our application here.
Each time, that's what we've been asking for.
I understood that we'd have come back with what we want, when I was here the last
Right.
meeting, I understood, and I went in and talked to Mike afterwards, and,
just draw it in.
and I explained what we're gonna do, but I didn't have the material then. And should I have submitted something in writing, or,
That,
Some kind of,
what you have, what was ordered, like that kind of thing, and
I can
dimensions.
show it to you, well, the dimensions of the length.
Right.
yeah.
This is the third meeting, though, with this, and we still haven't received anything ahead of time. That's the first we've heard and the first color we saw.
So what do we want, I think is what we need to.
Well, we had asked for lattice, or we had asked for some other material other than a tarp.
Yeah, but that's a canvas.
This is canvas.
I mean, that's a
It's not a tarp, it's
Yeah.
canvas.
So,
And-
as is common when an approval is given, there are an assortment of conditions that typically Mike recommends to us. And I'm looking at his suggestion as to an affirmative motion on this proposal, and he's got one condition that we see frequently anyway. We could just add condition number 2 and phrase something about covering the front section with a roll-up canvas, Dernier 600 by 600 red, whatever in the manufacturer's name.
I mean, I
And
could
that's
have,
it.
I apologize, when I brought and showed him this early in the week, I didn't know I was supposed to put something in writing. I thought I was gonna come in and do show and tell.
Right,
and
right.
I didn't.
Yeah.
You got that part.
Do you have materials with you with the specifications of that material,
Yes,
of
he
the
does.
canvas? Because I
Yes,
can
he
take
does.
it and receive it and put it in the official record, and then when the corresponding zoning application comes through, make sure that that's the material being used. If you'd be open to submitting that.
Right, well, if the swatch arrives tomorrow, I'll bring it to your office and give you anything you want.
Where'd you get, is that one printed off the internet or something like that?
Yes.
The thing you got in your hand? Oh,
I
right.
I talked to the,
Okay, yeah, fine.
it's unbelievable that the Swatch, they're based in Albany, New York, and we're talking 10 days, and I've gotten confirmations it was shipped and all that, so these guys are really big, and they do all kinds of canvas, and if you go online, it's,
Is there a specific vendor and a manufacturer's number on the handout that you have that you don't mind providing? Because then we can just confer that it matches.
yeah, I can I can,
Sure
I
you can
didn't,
give us
I can give you all that. I mean,
Okay.
So we,
Janelle's the one that's gonna have to go out and make sure that it
Yeah.
matches what we approve.
I'm sorry.
She's gonna have to go out and make sure that whatever
Yeah,
is
I mean,
installed, it
I'm
matches
not
what
gonna
we
play
approve.
games, and if
I know,
you
so
say I
it's just,
don't like the
Well-
color.
she needs to
or-
know what she's looking for.
Are you willing to submit that with the record this evening, or are you hoping to bring it into the office tomorrow? I'm unclear on that.
no, he wants to submit that
Today.
for the
This
record
evening.
tonight.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Get it
Yeah.
going. That's perfect.
And
Right.
he read it into the record earlier.
Yeah, but we
You can hold me to it, and if,
So we can just add a roll-up canvas? Is it really canvas, or is it? I
It's a
heard
canvas.
it
plastic.
is canvas,
Canvas is usually,
yeah.
Looks like a sunbrella, like a, probably.
But it won't, it's supposedly resistant to sunlight and won't mold.
Right.
Obviously, we don't want
It's
to
probably very.
invest the
similar.
money and have it in,
canvas is cotton.
It says it's 100% polyester. That was in the
Yeah.
description.
Fabric, outdoor fabric. How's that?
All right, are we comfortable with it? Just going with adding a, roll-up polyester canvas?
Three of them?
Yeah, well, actually, it says the
At each
area of
opening.
expansion will be screened from the western elevation
Okay.
with the following material. So
Okay,
that's the
that's
three
good.
bays that face out. All right, are
Sounds good,
we-
I'm okay with it.
but you do want to identify it as red, or no?
To match the submitted. sample.
Matching the
Submitted,
existing barn?
the submitted description.
No, it'll match the existing barn and,
Yeah.
or closely. It's not gonna be perfect.
and I'll, when the swatch arrives, I'll bring it in to you, everything else. Would you like it?
Yes, it's not up to my preference, but.
No. Just go ahead and put it up.
Just
Yeah,
If
shut
it
up.
matches, just
Is
put it
that
up.
shut up, Ferg, is that what you said?
We've had enough fun with this for,
Yeah. Does someone wanna make this motion?
I think Don is right next to you.
I don't know, can you roll up?
Okay. I would make a motion to approve application number 1928 of Mark Deming, agent, Town of Simsbury owner, for a site plan amendment for the construction of a roof structure attached to the storage barn on the property located at 22 Iron Horse Boulevard. Approval of the site plan amendment is subject to the following conditions of approval. 1, an administrative zoning permit is required. 2, the area of expansion will be screened along the western elevation of the structure with the following materials as presented by the applicant. Roll-up polyester canvas, matching, color to match the existing barn.
Okay,
Second.
second? Jackie, second it. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's unanimous.
good work, Kevin.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it. I'll make
Sorry it
Mark
took us so long to get this done.
Mark gets back on the 6th, and he'll have work to do, so thank you very much. Bill, your phone.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next order of business is the application 1933.
Two.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, is 19-32 of Hetzel Shaw for special exception. So now we can consider the approval of the special exception or not. Anybody have more questions?
Personally, I'm clear on the issues at hand for tonight. I think there's some items that will be of interest in the future, but
On the site plan, yes. So let's have a motion to approve this special exception.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve application 1932 of Heddle Shaw, applicant Aquarian Water Company owner, Al Wells Tie and Bond Inc., agent for special exception pursuant to Article 7, Section M, for construction in the floodplain of the Stratton Brook Centralized Treatment Facility on the property located at 190 Stratton Brook Road. The commission finds the applicant has demonstrated compliance concerning regulations related to the development within the floodplain zone. The approval of the special exception is subject to the following conditions of approval. 1, an administrative zoning permit is required for work within the floodplain. 2, pre-construction meeting is required with the zoning enforcement officer and floodplain administrator prior to the start of construction. And 3, any expansion beyond the approved limits of filling and grading within the floodplain requires approval from the zoning commission.
I'll second.
Second by Jackie. Let's see, now, we did consider all of the applications for special exception, the need. We agree there's a need, we agree the traffic has been improved. What's the other? We're not gonna change, we're gonna improve the character of the neighborhood because
Better safety,
better
because your
safety.
separation.
So I think we've convinced ourselves that it's in compliance with our regulations. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes 6-0. Thank you very much.
How soon is that starting? Or do you still have to get more
We've
permits?
still got to get
Yeah.
the Army Corps permits, so, yeah, I don't think it would be anytime soon.
Next year sometime?
Yeah, so it sounds like we'll be back in front of you before then anyway. Is that the normal? So normally with a project like this, I'm just wondering why we got the recommendation we did. Maybe Mike was thinking,
Well, if this application wasn't
Why do we need a
successful,
second?
then why even do the next?
Yeah, just to speak to that from a process standpoint,
Yeah.
so because it's in the floodplain, the special exception for the work within the floodplain is kind of your precursor to the details behind and
Okay.
site plan to follow.
And there's a utility exception too, that you may have been thinking
That's what I'm
Utility exemption
racking my brain.
under
We
16235
don't-
state,
It's
That's
possible, but
whatever,
Mike-
following his advice,
Mike,
whatever you
go
want
down.
to check.
talk to Mike.
Because
later.
there is the mention of the Army Corps and the other applications, and there's no mention of a follow-up site plan. That was what my first thought was with that exception.
All right, okay, we'll follow.
Okay, thank you.
Good night.
good night.
Okay, we have an application, and the public hearing has been advertised for Bill Seelig and Sandra Seelig's construction of a barn in floodplain. Public hearing is scheduled for July 15th, so there's no action on our part needed. Is there any staff updates on the regulations?
Robin and Mike plan to discuss the regulations on the 15th. They were a part of the packet. My understanding is the last packet, all of those materials. I believe it touched on home occupations for discussion for next meeting.
Okay,
I thought we agreed we were gonna talk about the short-term rentals
I
tonight.
thought so.
Yeah.
That Robin mentioned, speaking about that with Mike on the 15th.
I believe that was conditioned on the town attorney's response to her comments.
We don't have any
Okay.
summary or any information to,
Well, she says.
Were there
we don't have it
materials
yet.
presented last meeting on home occupation? Okay,
no, not home, it's the short-term rental.
short term.
Short-term rentals isn't the same
Yeah.
Right.
as the
I
issue of
think
home
that we had
occupations.
So
discussed
both
it.
materials, both sets of materials, both the short term and the home occupation are not within previous packets.
The home occupation is.
Okay,
Yeah, no, this commission will actually propose an ordinance to the selectmen, and that's what we're looking for.
Gotcha.
Help on that one.
my understanding is that that's pending per the town attorney, and then the home occupation is not pending per town attorney, so that's the topic of discussion for the 15th, and that's my understanding of it. But I believe those materials, the home occupation went out in the last packet, and that will be revisited.
Janelle, could you just, I want to step back a moment. Are you familiar with the material that gets put on that website that we all have access to see the agenda and the various handout materials?
Dropbox?
The Dropbox?
Yes, the Dropbox, yes, I work within it.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you this. I
Sure.
took a look at Seelig's barn, the application that is coming to public hearing next week. I didn't see what appeared to me to be a site plan.
A site plan, so it looks incomplete at this time?
Doesn't-
It was very hard to follow because
Yeah.
the hatch marks was the addition, but hatch marks was also
Right.
not being constructed, and it was a very confusing.
Had Mike
Submission.
been sitting there tonight, Janelle, now you're the one sitting there. I think somebody should have a little bit of a brief, at least brief conversation with Mr. Seelig, so that he doesn't hear it from us for the first time when he comes in 2 weeks, that there seems to be probably some defects in his submittals.
I'm looking at this site
Now, it
plan
could
that
be
we
that
have
it's-
right here.
It's not complete, that his submittals, there's more to come. That was really my question.
Well, he had marked up,
Yeah, no, it has lots of marks. Actually, can you just turn that so we can see it here?
I'm looking at it now. This was, it's a little illegible.
Yeah, look at all the different marks there. You have hatch mark there that says, well, first of all, it said not being built, and then,
I don't see any contour lines on that diagram either.
My advice is going to be, and I'll let Mike know, getting this feedback this evening, to reach out to the applicant to tidy up these plans, from my standpoint here.
Review
there's a
the
lot of cross-up.
definition of a site plan from our regulations. Make sure the applicant is aware. If he wants to submit stuff that's not complete,
I'll pass along that message, absolutely.
thank you.
okay,
you ready? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
second by Donna, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carry, 6-0, thank you very much.
Do you have notes on these?